Hey, I don't really know how to tell you this, but you might think you're watching a YouTube video right now, and, that makes a lot of sense, but you're actually dreaming. Sorry about that. You might want to wake up soon, but that's up to you, I guess. Hey! Down here. Yeah, you're still dreaming, Just because you're outside doesn't mean you're not asleep right now. I mean, a cartoon penguin on your sidewalk has to be pretty ridiculous, right? Hey! Where you go? Oh. This is terrifying. He seems nice. Okay, this is getting kind of ridiculous. Huh. I guess I'm outside now. The funny thing about dreams like these is they can feel so real when you're in them. Something like a cartoon penguin standing in, the middle of nowhere can seem completely normal at the time. That is, until you wake up. I'm okay. I just need... Hi, my name is Bob, and I want to talk a little about dreams. No, not that one. It's something I've been thinking about more recently because after doing countless all-nighters growing up and even making an entire video about how to do it yourself, I've realized as I've gotten older that sleep is pretty important if I actually want to get stuff done during the day. So I started doing that. But the funny thing about sleeping more is I've also started having more dreams. A lot more dreams, actually. And because of that, I found myself waking up on many occasions thinking about how weird it is that I just spent the past 6 to 8 hours hallucinating about riding a dragon or jumping into a waterfall. And it's gotten to the point over the past few years or so that I started to develop a genuine fascination for dreams and how they work. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who thinks about this stuff either. I mean, it's inevitable that at some point in our lives, we all realize dreams are just weird. Hell, sleeping is weird. It's much different than all of our other basic survival needs, because not only do we need food and water, but every single night we also have to lay down somewhere, close our eyes, and just wait to be unconscious. And if you try to go a few days without sleep, it can have some serious risks to your health in the short and long term. Stuff I wish I knew sooner. You can even start to see some pretty freaky hallucinations while you're still awake. Sleeping isn't really optional, it's something that every animal has to do. I mean, my cat sleeps for like 14 hours a day, bears can sleep through an entire winter, and humans like me and you do it for at least 6 hours a night, sometimes less and sometimes more. So obviously sleep is pretty damn important. It helps with building memories, reinforcing things we learned that day, and it can also help you repair muscle tissue and restore the cells you need in your body. And I'm making this very clear because when I made my video about how to stay up all night, I seriously underestimated the power of sleep. Pulling an all-nighter should be a last resort type of thing, like if you've been playing video games all night and you have a paper due in 3 hours, but sleep. Do it! I'm very passionate about sleep these days. But seriously though, I guess you can think of sleep as kind of like a charging phone. Humans have to charge too. We need to dedicate that time out of our 24 hours to rest and rebuild our strength. But unlike a charging phone, humans actually have pretty complex brains that are active 24/7. So while we're sleeping, our brains start to do some pretty weird stuff. Meaning that not only are you unconscious, but your mind also starts to generate all kinds of vivid hallucinatory-like experiences that often develop into weirdly specific scenarios that, while you're in them, seem to just make sense at the time. And basically what happens is moments after you lay down, a few switches in your brain start to turn off and your body temperature decreases, and after a brief spike in brain activity, your body and mind then start to relax. And usually after about 90 minutes or so, you'll go into something called REM sleep, or rapid eye movement, which is usually where your most vivid dreams will start to happen. Those are also the dreams you're probably going to remember when you wake up, like running from a monster, finding things, learning things, or typically just going with the flow and doing stuff. And most of the time while we're inside of the dream, we don't even question it. It's like your old life never happened and the life you're living in this dream has always been this way. It can make you question whether the dream world is the real world or if the world we're living in is the real world, considering how frequently dreams at the time seem much more sensible when you're in them versus when you wake up. Oh. Hello. So all kinds of weird scenarios will develop from your subconscious, and the conscious part of your brain is simply adapting to whatever the hell is happening. Not only that, but dreams are also weird when you consider the fact that we often have very little control over what happens in the dream itself, not even knowing it happened at all until it's too late. Why is this happening? So sometimes we have nice dreams and sometimes we have bad dreams, but either way, you wake up with the idea that you didn't even get to choose what happened in it. It just kind of happened. You can find yourself waking up and even questioning the decisions you made in that dream, almost almost like you were watching yourself doing them. So the more I thought about it, I started to get deeper and deeper into researching with the goal of learning more about what dreams are and how they work. But over the years, I found myself asking this one very simple question. This one question that I was so curious about. And that question was, of course, what if you could control your dreams? What if those dreams you had when you sleep weren't just blind experiences, but rather very intentional sandboxes to make whatever the hell you want to happen? Only then would you not just be a passenger to the weird things happening in your sleep, but you could actually be in the driver's seat of the dream, having a lot more say in what happens around you and what you want to do in this dream you created yourself. You could actually choose what happens in it and spend that time wisely. It's an idea I always found fascinating as a kid, and growing up I really wanted to do it. But I'll be honest, it didn't seem super realistic the older I got, considering I was never really able to do it before. But then I started to look into it more and discovered that this is not only possible, but people can actually train themselves to do it. It's called lucid dreaming, a type of dream where you can actually be aware of what's happening and use your imagination to create all kinds of scenarios while you're actually in the dream. A typical lucid dream is based on the idea that you're fully aware that you're sleeping, and you can even control the things happening around you inside of the dream. The part of your brain that especially activates during a lucid dream is your prefrontal cortex. Consider that prefrontal cortex like the front of your brain. It's also the captain of your ship, responsible for decision making and willpower. So basically, if you've ever had to do something you didn't want to do, the prefrontal cortex probably helped you out with that. And while you're specifically lucid dreaming, a few parts of your brain start to increase in activity, meaning that you're even more conscious and lucid during your dream. This can often happen unintentionally, and it's definitely happened to me before. Apparently about 50% of adults have at least had one lucid dream before. But the thing that really blew my mind was that having a lucid dream isn't just a random event you hope happens to you, much like I thought. But if you practice it consistently, you can even do it every single night. And it's actually a pretty common practice among all kinds of different professionals, literally improving their craft inside of their dreams. One example is a doctor from South Carolina who claims he was able to practice his surgical cases in his sleep. After years of training himself in sleep-solving ability, he could refine his surgical techniques in his dream and actually remember what he did later in the day, solving problems that he might have had in real life in his dream. Another one being a professional musician from Illinois would practice his solo recitals in an orchestra hall in his sleep and then literally feel more confident and assured of himself when he did it in real life. So it's really interesting to me how vivid the imagination can be while we're sleeping, and that lucid dreaming can actually have serious real-world applications to it when you wake up, and then practice all kinds of different scenarios while you're sleeping. And studies have been done similar to this called imagination experiments, where experts of all kinds would have their brains scanned while they pretended to do their particular skill, and it would actually show similar brain map changes as actually doing it. But then think about if you could vividly see the piano and surgical tools in front of you and get better at it too. I realized that lucid dreaming might have a lot more benefits than I previously thought, so of course I wanted to know how to do it too. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I want to like ride a dragon or something, and I mean, who wouldn't? So of course I consumed all kinds of podcasts, books, articles, whatever I could find. But as a kid, I couldn't do it. Maybe you can blame that on my short attention span and my Roblox addiction. But as I got older, I found myself fascinated with it again. But this time actually trying a lot of the methods I read about and doing them consistently. And believe it or not, it actually worked. I controlled my dream because I wanted to. Albeit it was a very simple dream at first, basically just me shooting a basketball into a hoop and scoring every time. But then a few days went by and I did it again. I could actually make myself float a few inches off the ground until eventually I was looking out the window of a tall building. It was like I found the cheat code to my brain or something, and I really wanted to see if this is something I can do a lot more frequently. So I thought it'd be cool to share some of the things I learned about lucid dreaming and how you can use this information to maybe have one or maybe a few lucid dreams yourself. What I did, what I learned, and what I discovered in the past few weeks. Keep in mind though, I'm definitely not an expert, but I will be sharing a lot of stuff I learned from people who actually are experts in this stuff. So basically, I'm Bob, and I read this book, so you don't have to. And also, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't making this video as an excuse to try these tips again. I also kind of want to reinforce the idea of lucid dreaming in my brain, so I'm more conditioned to think about it in my subconscious. This could actually work for you too, by the way. Just by watching a video about lucid dreaming right now, there actually is a percentage chance you might have a lucid dream this week. So if you clicked on this video because you wanted to have one, congratulations. I hope you have one. All of these are tips that I personally used myself. So yeah, good luck. So the first one is just about your mindset, but it's surprisingly effective. Basically, you want to develop a very clear intention throughout the day or week that this is something that you want to do when you go to bed. Making sure that you're choosing a particular phrase that you're going to say multiple times a day. Make it a mantra in your head. You can say, I'm going to lucid dream. I will control my dream. I will know I'm dreaming. Telling your brain that you want this next dream to be one you have control over. It's based on a scientifically researched idea by various experts in lucid dreaming that when you tie a repetitive, long-term, memorable, emotional response to your drive to succeed at lucid dreaming, and you say this particular mantra multiple times, especially before you go to bed, the chance of having a lucid dream at some point in the next 7 days is increased by a marginal amount. It may seem pointless at first, but when you start to take it a bit more seriously, it can actually increase your chances of having one. And you know, some might also say your intentions are your reality. So if you want to control your dreams, give yourself the frequent and emotional determination to succeed, and actually do this when you're sleeping. So in other words, scream it onto the mountaintops, tweet about it, leave a comment, spell it out in alphabet soup, and tell your brain that you want this and you want it now. And maybe, just maybe, it might listen. I'm gonna lucid dream! Oh, God, what the fuck? I'm gonna lucid dream! Why are you yelling? Because I want a lucid dream. Okay. Good luck with that. Thank you.
Check yourself.
This next one is a pretty common tactic recommended often by various books and YouTube videos. It's called a reality check, and this strategy might seem pretty self-explanatory, but basically throughout the day, check to see if you're dreaming. Because the funny thing about dreams is you never really know you're in one until it's too late. So if you do these little reality checks throughout the day, there's a small chance that one of those times you might actually realize you're dreaming. An important thing to keep in mind is to identify and remember a certain symbol that you're gonna see multiple times a day, reminding yourself that each time you see it, to check to see if you're dreaming. One common way of doing this is as simple as putting a small mark on your arm, but it can also be a band-aid, a post-it note in the hallway, or a nearby object that you walk by every day. As long as you're seeing the symbol you chose a few times a day, it'll give you the opportunity each time to do a reality check. What I did personally was I put a little star on my wrist and marker. This one actually worked pretty well for me because whenever I reach my arm out or write something down, I'll usually see that symbol like 5 to 10 times a day. But you can honestly choose whatever you want. It can even be a tattoo you already have, a little post-it note on the back of your laptop, or a lamp with a little sticker on it or something. But I would recommend if you go with the tattoo thing, don't get a new one. A marker or a sticker will work just fine. Hey look, I got a new tattoo. What did I just say? And then of course when you see this symbol, whatever it may be, take a few seconds to stop and use your 5 senses to observe your surroundings, focusing on the present moment and seriously asking yourself, am I dreaming? Or if you want, you can even do it right now. Go ahead, take a few seconds. Okay, it seems like you're probably not dreaming. Probably. And then of course, once you've identified your symbol, there's also a lot of other things you can try too. Things that you can do in 5 seconds or less, like pushing 2 fingers through your hand and seeing if it passes through, plugging your nose and seeing if you can still breathe, looking at a clock and seeing if it looks weird, or jumping in the air and seeing if you float. You could also do the tried and true pinching yourself, but I don't like that one. Pinching hurts, but the idea is that you pick a symbol, use your 5 senses, and then ask yourself each time with genuine uncertainty, am I dreaming? It may seem obvious, but trust me, dreams don't seem obvious until you wake up. So you have to seriously ask yourself, because maybe one of those times, you will be. Alright, so this next one I think is definitely pretty helpful if you plan to lucid dream frequently, because this particular skill is often documented as a pretty crucial part of lucid dreaming. Keeping in mind too that, like mentioned earlier in the video, professions of all kinds have tried and experimented with lucid dreaming as a way to get better at their particular skill. But one thing that all of these people have in common is that every single one of them journals their dreams, which basically means that one of the best ways to take full control of your dreams is by writing down your dreams every night. A preferable way to do this is on pen and paper, but you can also journal it on your phone if you prefer that. You could record yourself talking about the dream, or you could open the notes app in your phone. That's perfectly fine. But just make sure you keep it right next to your bed every night. And as soon as you wake up, make note of every single thing you can remember from the dreams you had. Because these little details are important to write down too. Because journaling is also super helpful for finding and recognizing patterns. Unlike those very intentional symbols you chose to ask yourself if you're dreaming, as you journal more and more, you'll probably start to notice completely unintentional patterns that are going to happen frequently inside of your dream. And then especially after journaling for a couple days or a couple weeks, increasing your chances of then noticing those patterns again in the next dream and then realizing you're not awake. One thing I want to mention though is it's okay if you sometimes completely forget the dream the second you wake up. It honestly happens to me too. It's really just a good idea to document as many dreams as you can as a way of being more conscious in your mostly subconscious dreams. Make sure to make note of any repeating objects or symbols or missing staircases, 2 suns, a dog with a big head, whatever it might be. Just make sure you're writing it down as soon as you wake up. You could even put a little piece of paper on the door or set an alarm on your phone to remind yourself to do this every night. So yeah, write them down. So this one is interesting because when I was doing research for this video, I found that there's actually 2 different ways to get a lucid dream. The first way is to realize you're dreaming while you're inside of the dream, and the second way is to develop that lucid dream while you're still conscious. You can also of course do a combination of both, but I'll be talking about the second one for a minute because studies have actually shown that a larger percentage of documented lucid dreams are WILD, also known as wake-induced lucid dreams. The other one is dream-induced lucid dreams, which is stilled, which is basically trying to identify that symbol that you chose earlier on. But the data about wild dreaming was interesting enough for me to dive a little deeper into how to do it. The idea of this being that you would keep a sharp eye on your fading consciousness, focusing very carefully on the present moment of your body and mind, and mentally picturing what you want to happen next as you fall deeper into your dream state. Because when you think about it, dreaming is just seeing stuff, and if you can see it sooner, it can become even more vivid as you fall deeper into sleep. The best way to do this is similar to what you do when you check yourself, but instead you're gonna do this in your bed. When you're laying down, use your 5 senses. You're gonna imagine those 5 senses are experiencing what you want to experience. Like imagining a beach. You would feel the sun on your skin and the sand on your feet, hearing the waves of the ocean in front of you, smelling the salty air and the coconuts, and at that point you're just doing your best to deeply entrance yourself until eventually you find yourself there. It's an interesting method to try because a lot of us often don't take the time when we're laying down to really think about what kind of dream we're gonna have or when the dream is gonna start. But if you pay very close attention to what's happening when you're laying down, the likelihood of taking full control of that dream from the very beginning is significantly better. Of course, your odds are even better if you've been checking yourself, journaling, and having strong intentions. But research has also found that you can train yourself to do just this one alone with little prior knowledge or experience in lucid dreaming. But trust me, it's a little harder than it sounds, especially if you're like me and your mind has a tendency to wander. So just like many other things in life, this one is a skill that you might have to practice a few times. You're basically doing 2 things. You're studying your mind and what's happening at the very moment, and you're also imagining what you want to see happen. You can even do something weird too, like imagine you're floating around in space talking to a little alien or something. It's really up to you. I usually like to do the beach one, or maybe I imagine I'm on a roller coaster. Try to keep it simple at first. Just make sure you're very calmly focusing your energy on what you want to happen, making it very possible that you could find yourself turning it into a dream. And of course, try your best to get on a somewhat consistent sleep schedule and sleep for at least 6 to 8 hours a night. I know that for some people, including me, that's easier said than done, but try your best. And yeah, those are a few things I found to be pretty interesting and potentially useful for future lucid dreaming. If you happen to have one yourself after watching this video, feel free to let me know in the comments or tweet me about it. This is a video I was honestly pretty excited to work on because having dreams is one of those weird, hard to explain things that every human on the planet can understand. And it's just kind of fun to think about using that time we have in our dreams to make some of our wildest, weirdest fantasies come true. Dreams are often unexpected and sometimes very strange, so it's okay if it takes a while. I just think it's fun to try, and I'm gonna keep trying. And if you want to try it too, go ahead. Feel free to do some research yourself, watch a couple more videos, get a book at the library, and just have fun with it. So anyway, I hope you learned something, or at least found it interesting in some way. Thanks for watching. Have a good day or night, and as always, good vibes, everyone. Hi, thanks again for watching. I hope you liked this video. It's honestly been on the back burner for quite a while now, but I finally got it done. I've actually got a few videos planned that I've been working on as well, so feel free to subscribe if you're interested in more videos like this. This video in particular was pretty fun to make, and I'm excited to do more stuff like that. But anyway, a few things I want to mention real quick. First of all, I'd like to seriously thank NordVPN for letting me try out their VPN service. I've been using it for the past few weeks while working on this video, and it's honestly a great way to protect your data by masking your IP address, but you can also unblock Netflix and pretty much any streaming service with region locks, so you can watch stuff that you normally wouldn't be able to. There's a lot of benefits to a VPN like this one. It keeps your private info private. So if you want to get it yourself, check out the link in the description or use code BOB, that's my name, to get a 2-year plan plus 1 additional month with a huge discount. Check it out. Also, I've been working with an artist named Bubbly Tears for quite a while now, and we came up with some even more cool designs for the merch shop. You might have recognized some of these scattered throughout the video. I honestly love them. Shout out to I'm Kitty K on Twitter, who sent me a photo of their Sleepy Penguin sticker they ordered. If you want to be mentioned like this in the next video, send me a picture of something you ordered at Pengicitis 1. And finally, feel free to check out Amoeba Network, my second channel, and my social medias. I also have a Patreon where for just $1 you can check out behind the scenes content and journals about my video making progress. So yeah, if you want to try NordVPN, check out the link in the description or use coupon code BOB. I appreciate you sticking around, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!